Hi, everybody. Welcome to what is one of my absolute favorite days of the year, which is the final presentation of the History Theater and Vail Place collaboration group. My name is Paul de Cordova, and I'm the education manager at the History Theater, and I have been privileged to be part of this endeavor ever since we started way back in 2014. So let me just explain to you a little bit about what we do. So the group meets 2 times a year, each time 15 sessions long. So we've got lots of time to create things. And our whole aim is to help people tell their own stories. So within those 15 session residencies, people do writing prompts, we do sharing, we support each other's work. And then when we get to the end here, we sort of shape the final presentation into something we'd like to share with the wider world. I think on top of everything else, what this group does is it exercises the muscles of creativity, but also it helps us practice telling our stories in different ways. What you're going to see will include things like songs and poems and narratives. So there are all kinds of different ways we can tell our stories, and the members get to decide how they want to do that. Because as important as I think the creation of community and connection through personal stories matters, I also think it really matters that all of us get to decide how we tell our own story. I do quickly want to say a big thank you to a lot of the people who have made this happen, all of the members who have been with us, all the teaching artists, Jess, Ateem, Brian, and Annie. I want to thank the folks on the History Theater side. Basically, everyone on staff there did amazing work for us. Thank you. And everyone on the Vail Place staff who has made this happen. I would say most especially Stefano Laverso, who actually started this program back in 2014 and retired last year. So though he may not be on staff anymore, his spirit lives on through this group, which will continue indefinitely, I would say. With that in mind, I think I'm gonna pass it off to the great work of our members. Here we go.
I'm Tony.
I'm Jane.
Carla here.
I'm Frank.
Hi, I'm Michelle.
I'm Lynette.
I'm Mike.
Kindness is a full-time job. How often is it the things I think are the work I do? It is normal to be kind. The difficulty I see is how to manage priority. What is more kind? What is less kind? At best, kindness is a good estimation.
Old friends is important to me. I have a friend, Linda. I met Linda when my boys were toddlers in a preschool program. Linda has 2 daughters that went to the preschool. Our children are in their 40s now, and some have children of their own. Linda and I get together for coffee and thrift store shopping and take our grandchildren out. Linda means a lot to me. I have known her 43 years. We'd like to reminisce about the old days and talk about us getting older. I talk with Linda most days, and it makes me feel good that I have a longtime friend.
Finding my voice. Ever since I was a boy, I wanted to be a writer, but it took me a long time to find my writing voice. I wrote my first short story when I was in the 8th grade, and I was inspired to write by my English teacher, Miss Helen Gerwig. After that, I didn't get much further encouragement to develop my writing voice in high school or college, even though I was an English major. I read the great American, British, and Irish novels like Ernest Hemingway, James Joyce, Charles Dickens, Herman Melville, and Mark Twain. I envied their talent, but I lacked the confidence to do my own writing. In fact, all through college and grad school, I never took a single creative writing class. The emphasis was always on literary criticism. So I did write a ton of term papers. The only creative writing I did in college was when I published 2 poems in the Xavier Literary Quarterly. I even won the poetry prize in my senior year, but it took me many, many years, lots of trial and error to find my writing voice.
So much to say. Will this be my last history group performance? I think so. I am dying, you see, cancer. I found out that I had cancer in May of 2020. Started chemo and stopped chemo in August when it made me deathly ill. My legs swelled up so badly that I could barely walk. And then I spent 2 weeks at Mount Olivet learning how to walk with a walker and getting strong enough to walk upstairs again. And then to my sister's for a week and tours of several assisted living places with her. And then it was time to move out of my loft condo into a place without stairs and where I could eat 3 meals a day with other people and not be alone all day. When COVID hit Minnesota and Vail shut its doors back in March 2020, my whole life drastically changed. I went from being at Vail Monday through Friday, several hours a day, and eating there as well. And now I was home all the time, and it was long and hard and boring. Zoom meetings helped, but I still greatly missed eating with others and being around other people all day, every day. Moving from my condo helped, but I still miss Vail and all the things we used to do together. Music jam, drum circle, art with Andrew, one of our members, who's an incredible artist, and making homemade ice cream. I miss sitting in front of Vail Uptown's fireplace in the community room, and I miss walking in the front door of Vail to hear my friend Fiona call out to me, "Michelle, come give me a hug." I miss her hugs a lot. I've only seen Fiona once or twice in person since COVID started. Both times were outdoors in warm weather in Vail Uptown's backyard.
There are so many layers upon layers. In truth, I don't know really who I am. What is that I? It reminds me of a beautiful place where once I lived. I did not recognize the danger for myself. I must be okay because that was the last I heard of it. Reminiscing about old days with old friends, 2 incidents made me realize I've lost control of some of my physical and mental functionings. It means a lot to me. How the scars happened are lost to me. The difficulty I see is how to manage priority. You do heal, and the scars fade.
I thought I would never cross country ski. I went with Vail 3 years ago. CJ had helped me put on the skis. I was thankful to him. I cross country ski a ways and didn't go on the hill that was ahead. This is pretty good for a 65-year-old. I didn't fall until the end. I was sure I was going to break a bone since I have a history of broken bones, but I was willing to take a chance because cross country skiing looked like fun. And it was, even though it was a workout, I loved it. I like to try new things that I thought I would never do, such as my yoga class. I will be the old lady in the crowd, but I know I'm never too old to learn. It's a challenge for me.
In 2005, I was in my 20s. I felt like it was a turning point for me. I remember going to my dad's house when he had it. We would go grocery shopping and pick up yummy food. At the time, I was struggling with my mental illness. I laid down and listened to music and smoked cigarettes, chain smoked cigarettes all day.
Mom gave me the phone. She said, "Talk to Mike." I did not know Mike, but I took the phone. Mike asked me to my first Grow Group meeting. I arrived at the church where we had our group. That night I learned about a 12-step group. I'm still learning today what started in Grow. It was the first time in 5 years I felt heard. Most people who knew me saw an enormous difference in my behavior. Although my studies, this Through all my studies, this group started what I did then, continue now, and will benefit from in the future.
Scars are not only on your skin. Scars can be from emotional, sexual, spiritual abuse. My physical scars have faded over the years, making it hard to see them. I got them as a kid. I was constantly getting hurt and having to go to the ER. Stitches, broken bones. I just did not recognize danger. I was fearless and I got hurt. The physical scars are from the top of my head all the way to my toes. How they happened are mostly lost to me now. I have been healing from the emotional, sexual, and spiritual abuse for years. As the physical scars have healed, so have the others abuses healed. The scars are forever, but they do heal and fade.
This is a painting by surrealist Leonora Carrington that the members wrote a poem about.
The room is very small, but very interesting, inspired by a Leonora Carrington painting. I come from the past, present, and future. My life is a journey to the final gateway. There is one focal point for the characters. It's all dancing and moving with total grace and ease.
Animals in robes that are hungry. I, the dog, am the same. It is done in neutral tones.
On the far right in the middle is a figure, a goddess on the wall doing an ecstatic dance with an angel. It sounds like the middle of the night, as creepy as someone getting into your house.
I dance to my own music. As I dance, the others listen. It is done in neutral tones.
It is easy to slip into despair and fall into not caring for yourself. I am ever growing, learning, knowing, and reaching to the very top to be my own master of my own life and universe.
Little girls in black, they stare at the animals. I've been disturbed by the blossoming woman who is about to be resurrected into heaven.
I come in peace to help guide you to a new way of being. I come in peace, I come in peace. I come in peace. Some snow and mist and a lot of trees moving up and down.
So much grief. I have so much grief about all the things I lost when COVID hit and Vail closed its doors. I miss us being open on Christmas and Thanksgiving with a huge traditional holiday meal and having 60 to 80 members eat together at noon. Our big Vail holiday uptown house would be full to the brim with tables and chairs set up in the dining room, community room, and overflowing through the rest of the house. It was crowded, noisy, and full of laughter and conversations. Nothing like celebrating the holidays with 60 to 80 of your closest relatives. We'd start to eat somewhere around noon. Turkey and ham, stuffing, mashed potatoes, veggies, rolls, etc., and 3 or 4 different kinds of pie. Pumpkin, apple, French silk, lemon meringue. Which kinds of pies would we have this year? We made these pie choices at weekly decision-making meetings. I would have a big noon meal at Vail on Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then head down to my sister's to celebrate Christmas again on Christmas Day. I so miss Vail uptowns being crowded to the brim with people, celebrating those 2 holidays together. I miss my large extended second family, which was Vail uptown. I strongly disagree with Vail management's decision to not require Vail members to be vaccinated to be at the clubhouse in person. It feels like it excluded members and volunteers who are at a higher risk of getting seriously ill from COVID. I have cancer. It was no longer safe for me to be at Vail.
Karma chameleon. I change my mood as the season changes. As the season changes, my sense of color changes. Sometimes I study the past, sometimes the present, and often the future. When I am near, I am blue. Far is red, and caution is yellow. Each tone is distinct. Each blue will always be near, each red far, and yellow caution.
84 years of wisdom. Last November, just before Thanksgiving, a friend named Jean died of a heart attack at the age of 84. She was a grandmother, great-grandmother, whom I got to know in a weekly therapy group that eventually became a support group. She was my favorite person in the group because I could really relate to her struggle with depression. About a week after her death, I attended her memorial service with some other members of our group. It was held at the church where she had been active. I was struck by how much her life impacted her family and all those friends she left behind. One of her sons spoke about her devotion to family, her service to others, and her deep spirituality. A woman friend sang a beautiful song to honor her memory. I will miss Jean a lot, and I often think of all the other friends who have passed away these past few years.
I am not afraid of dying. My mother died during childbirth with my sister Renee. I was 12 years old when she was born with the cord wrapped around her neck. She died that day. My mother told of the birth and death years later. She said she died that day due to blood loss. Remembering floating above the birthing table, being in the corner of the room, watching what was going on in the room around her, then being suddenly released from the pain and being guided by her ancestors to the light. She described the light as a peaceful, loving presence that she could not get close enough to. As she was getting closer to the light said to her that she needed to go back for her children's sake. She did not want to leave the loving presence. Suddenly, her doctor slapped her on the thigh and said, "Betty, get back here." She thought about, so through the pain, she came back. She said she was not afraid to die. I hope the light is there for me.
I'm in my mother's favorite place. She spent the bulk of her life in places like this. Pews on display like soldiers. Drums and organs waiting to be played. A choir stand waiting to be filled. The place she was always expected to be whenever the doors opened. And she's here today, like always. The thing is, today she's not in her usual seat. She's in that casket right over there.
My thoughts are with my sister Suzanne and her husband Mike. They have 3 sons. One is doing well and the other 2 are struggling. One is schizophrenic and refuses meds, and the other is an active alcoholic that was stabbed. My sister is a doctor and Mike is an orthopedic surgeon. They fix people, but they can't fix their sons unless their sons want help. They are very overwhelmed. My sister and brother-in-law have been very supportive of me and helped me through many tough times with mental and physical illness. I wish I could fix this for them.
I was in my teen years, very angry with everything, and I did not know why. I took my anger out on my mom. We fought verbally. She would end up hitting me out of control. It was a release for her and for me. I usually egged her on until it elevated in that release. One day while yelling at each other, it struck me she would die, and so would my dad. What would I do without her? It seems so much bigger than myself, this life and death. What would the world would go on, and eventually we all are forgotten. Why are we here? I decided that day it was to repair the past abuse that had gone on in my family. I've lived my life repairing my ancestors' transgressions so that the future may forgive us.
Mysterious objects cannot be seen, but it's here. My favorite gift was the Barbie doll and the Barbie doll clothes I got in second grade. I wanted to be a fashion designer when I grew up. I liked being alone. The radio opened my eyes to the world. The radio became my companion. Radio and TV, real life coming at me, kind of playing out on stage. Is this real or some kind of theater?
When I was a little girl, my mother used to press my hair straight to tell the world that I was a good little girl. Then I wore an afro to tell the world that I was aware. Then I wore braids to tell the world that I listened to NPR. Sometimes I wore waves to tell the divas that I could diva with the best of them. Then I had a carefree curl to tell the world that I could afford it. Now I got the I don't give a damn hair because I'm tired of talking to y'all.
My most fun costume. My most fun costume that I ever wore was at a Halloween party at a CSP about 30 years ago. I came dressed as Charlie Chaplin's Little Tramp. I wore a pair of oversized floppy black shoes, a crumpled black bowler hat, a waistcoat that was way too tight and missing a few buttons, and a pair of baggy trousers. I entered the room carrying my bamboo cane and attempted to do the Little Tramp shuffle. I bowed down before all the ladies. I didn't say a word, but when I looked at myself in the mirror, I looked more like Jack the Ripper than the Little Tramp.
Okay, one summer day I went to Valley Fair and I rode all of the roller coasters. I did this with a friend so it wouldn't be so scary. I never thought I would ride all of them, especially the one that went straight up and twisted while it was going up. We had about 5 or 6 people with us. Some of them did the roller coaster, some of them didn't. It was a fun night. We even got lunch before we entered. I remember one of us was doing the water wave thing. He was having a blast. We were we were there all day and all night.
So I continue to grieve about losing the Vail I knew and loved. Although I am grateful that we have been able to have so many Vail activities on Zoom, I can't imagine what it would have been like to go through COVID without being able to see people's faces on Zoom. This will be our 3rd annual Vail Theater Group performance on Zoom and our 7th or 8th theater group performance. The earlier ones were in person at the Minnesota History Theater. So I want to say thank you to Annie and Brian and Paul and Stefano for this incredible opportunity to be in the Vail Uptown Theater Group. And I'm grateful for the theater group folks that I got to know because of the theater group. If there's a next life after this one, know that I will be watching your first performance after the end of my life. Keep an empty chair out for me, please, like we did for Shar at the end of her life. Many hugs and deep gratitude for the many gifts the theater group has brought me. Michelle.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
A moment I will never forget is my first bout with depression. I had recently turned 16 and was working at a drugstore, and I was leaving one night, and this feeling swept over me. It was a severe depression. I did not know that at the time. Many people use the word loosely, so I did not think that my feeling was different than anyone else's. I did not get help for my bipolar depression until I was 23. I got depression on and off for the next 7 years. Finally, I went on lithium. I stayed on lithium for 4 more years, depression free. Unfortunately, when I was 27, I thought I didn't need lithium anymore. So I went off from it. Eventually, I had one of the worst bouts of depression ever. I called my psychiatrist and he put me back on lithium and 1 or 2 of, I think, the transcyclic meds. After a while, I was depression free for a long time.
I miss people. I miss people so much. I want to give people a hug and say thank you and shake hands and maybe kiss my mom. I just be close to people. I'm a people person, so it makes me a little depressed and it makes me anxious. But I know we have to do it because of our safety and everything. And thanks to all the doctors, all the nurses, and all of the Vail Place staff and all the history theater for giving me this time to talk. I'm glad that if I want to and I'm feeling lonely, that I can join. It's there for me, even if I don't go to it all the time. But I know it back in my head that I have that support, that I can see that. But nothing is comparing to human contact. Nothing. I'm still gonna say that it's nothing like that. So I just leave it like that, and I can't wait. I can't wait our country to come back the way it was.
My name's Ken Falk, and this song is called "Beautiful Woman." It's just about a concerned friend who was once a childhood friend who feels that she's going out with somebody that's no good for her. Yeah, he's just trying to warn her about what he's like. I wrote it so long ago. It's purely because I like to daydream. I daydream a lot, so there's nothing really personal about it. It just sort of some of it just comes to me, and I have bits and pieces of music around, and I've been motivated over the last couple of years or so to finish them because I knew I could get them recorded on guitar. So otherwise they would just never seen the light of day.
1, 2, Beautiful woman, he's no beautiful man. Why do you love him? I don't understand. I guess that you're different, so different than me. He'll never love you. Oh, this can't you see? You're a beautiful woman, he's no beautiful man. He'll never love you, I know that he can. We used to play baseball on the block and talk for hours. Lazy afternoon picnics, you were tomboy amongst the flowers. You were so kind and generous to everyone around. I got scared when we were teenagers, when you fell in with the wrong crowd. And so we grew apart, but I watched as you were drawn to bad boys and tough times. I couldn't know what all was wrong. And even as you seem to find your way in this land we call life, I feel that I should tell you your new love's a real low life. Beautiful woman, no beautiful man. Why do you love him? I don't understand. I guess that you're different, so different than me. He'll never love you, this can't you see? Yeah, you're a beautiful woman, he's no beautiful man. He'll never love you, I know that he can't.
Hello, my name is Fatuma, and today I would like to share with you someone that I look up to. Michelle Obama, she is the first African-American first lady in our country. She inspired me and so many other people around the world. I remember becoming a new citizen and voting for Obama in the election. It was very intense for me because that was the first time I saw a very powerful couple in the politics. When I first saw Michelle Obama, I knew that with a partner like that Barack Obama would become the first African president. For a hard work and grace of God, we have achieved victory. He became the 44th US president and first African. I was always a big fan of Michelle Obama. She is a lady and a strong woman. I never forget when Obama was inaugurated, January 20, 2029, and I had to leave work so I could watch it on TV. I was jumping up and down, and I had tears of joy in my eyes. I just could not believe it what I seen and hearing at that moment. It was too good to be true. And I thought I was dreaming. And I say to myself, thank you, God, for answering my prayers. At the same time, I couldn't take off my eyes off the First Lady. She looked stunning, sharp, classy, and beautiful. They were just a normal family, very romantic couple with beautiful children. I mean, what more can you ask? They are perfect, and that does not do justice. Michelle Obama is role model. She's my role model. She came from a poor family, and she won one of the best universities in the US. She's a lawyer and always encourages women and girls to get education. In 2015, she started a campaign, Let Girls Learn. She believes in hard work, having a big dreams, and overcoming any obstacles. She does a wonderful job mentoring young girls and women to be themselves. She is someone everybody can relate to because even she has self-doubt in spite of all the things she accomplished. Michelle Obama said that we really cannot take up the issues of girls' education. We are also willing to stand up to all the complex issues that keeps so many girls out of school. Issues like early forced marriage and genital cutting. Thank you, Mrs. Obama, for speaking up for me. Because of you, I believe in myself, and I know now, I know that I matter.
What would you tell someone who wants to share their story, but are nervous and hesitant about sharing such personal, intense details? I think that's a really great question. If any of the members would like to answer that, I'd love to hear if they have thoughts about that. Yeah, go ahead, Frank.
So going back to the first time I was with History Theater, I met Brian and Annie, and they say, well, if you want to perform, that's good. If you don't want to, that's okay too. And I said, no, I don't think I want to. But I realized sometime later that a person with mental illness isn't really, I'm not really worried about myself so much, but there are other people there that need our help and our assistance. And then, I'd help the world if I could, and I think we're all trying. Um, so the first theater performance was, I always tell people, was the first time I had relaxed in 30 years, because I was able to bring it down to the size of a theater. It wasn't the whole world anymore or the universe. It was just that theater, and I was able to relax on stage in front of a crowd because I didn't have to do everything all the time. I cut my work in half.
Really well said, Frank. Thank you so much. Carla, I see you. Go ahead.
For me, it was, I felt such great shame about what had happened to me that I thought I could never tell anybody else. I was silent for, close to 50 years about anything that had gone in my life, and really dissociated and denied what had gone on with me. Well, then I went to the history theater group and heard other people's stories, and it was like, I'm not feeling negative about them. Maybe I can say what's in me, and it would be okay with the other members. So I did the writing prompts with Brian and Annie, and it's really been such a wonderful release again for me to be able to say what happened in my past. And it is okay. I can own it, and then I'm able to let it go. And so that's been so important. I am dyslexic. Okay, so I had a really hard time writing, spelling, that whole bit. The great thing about this is I don't have to worry about the spelling and the writing. I'm not turning a paper in. It's just me and the group, and I'm reading it, and that's okay. So I have never been able to have this kind of flow about my past until this group. So I'm very grateful for it.
Carla, thank you for all of that. Two of the things that I heard you and Frank say, I liked Frank's comment that doing this kind of work in a theater takes the world down from being the whole big world down to a room of people. I really appreciated that. And Carla, I really appreciated you saying how hearing other people tell their stories and feeling like I don't feel negatively about them may make it more okay for us to tell our own stories. I think those are really great points. So thank you both for both of those. I'm looking at the chat. It is overflowing with effusive love, comments, people just really digging this. I'm going to pull out a few questions that I saw, and any of the members or the teaching artists can address these. One of the question was, did anybody feel like they learned something new about either someone else in the group or about themselves through the process of the writing and the performing?
Well, I can share about that from a teaching artist perspective. That's one of the reasons I love being on this program. This partnership is because of just that. Like, it's an opportunity. I get to know people in the room as we're in class together, and I get to know myself better too, because that's what, a team and I, as we're there, and Jonathan joins in too as staff and all the members, and we're all writing on the prompts, and we all share with each other, and it's such a delight and an honor and a privilege to get to know others and to know myself. So I'm like, yeah, let's. It's a treat. Yeah.
That's great, Jez. Thanks a lot for that. Anybody else want to share something about things you might have learned from other people, about other people, or about yourself? It's okay if that's it. That was really nice, Jess. Thank you. Brian?
Yeah, we also had, yes, there were some serious things, but there was always joy in the room every time we got together. So our sessions always ended with the poems, which were created based off of the writing on those particular days. And I think we all started looking forward to that. So I think we were always surprising each other about how different pieces written based off of different prompts could also have a unique new meaning. It made us look at things differently. And we always end it there with this sort of sense of surprise and awe of the work that was created by the folks. So this is year 8, I think, 7 or 8 for me. And we're always learning from the folks, always. So
Great. Thank you so much, Brian. One question that I saw in the chat, and I don't even know who this might be an answer from, but they said they really loved it. And are there any other programs like this at the clubhouses? And the only thing I will say is the History Theater programs at the Hopkins and the Uptown Clubhouse, but I really can't speak to other programs either in other clubhouses in the country or other similar programs in the Twin Cities area. Maybe the members or Jonathan or someone could speak to that.
Well, certainly, I can just, oh, Frank, please go right ahead. Oh, no, you're just grabbing something. I think in terms of other programs like this, for other clubhouses, I don't know specifically about that. But I do know a few years ago, we had the opportunity to be able to share about our relationship with the History Theater at a Clubhouse International Conference. So every other year, there's an international conference for people within clubhouses like ours, staff and members, to travel to a place and just connect with other people about innovations in community mental health. And we were able to represent our relationship with the History Theater at one of those. And it was the most, I think it was the most commented on of all of the different panels or lectures that happened that week, which I had as a great source of pride. And so my hope is that, having that been a handful of years ago, that maybe there are some other programs that we were able to inspire by what we're doing here. So yeah, Frank, please.
I was going to say, put a plug in for the renovators. We had mental health day, mental health, was it advocacy day or something? I can't remember, at the state fair. And there were a number of booths there, not just Vail Place, but they filled the whole area up. So there are a lot of people, involved in mental health. And that was just one way that we get to show it.
Well said, Frank. I saw this one question a couple of times, so I'd love to, if Carla or Frank wants, or both of you want to answer this question, or if there are any of the members who would like to answer the question. But one of the questions that got asked a couple of times was, how did it feel to see yourself in the final video up on the screen? What did that feel like? Yeah, Carla.
It was really hard the first time we did it. This time was hard too. But I feel it's so important for other people to hear all of our stories, because it will help people heal and recover and realize, we're trying to crush the stigma of mental illness. And so you know what? I will get out there. I will show my face. I will let everybody see me and try to help that along.
That's a great answer, Carla. Thank you. Frank, did you want to chime in on what it was like to see the video?
That was good. I always wonder what the final product is going to turn out to be. This time we get to see it right on the screen.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the little the pictures we had before we started.
Yeah, those were cool too.
Yeah, all the past years at the History Theater.
Yeah. Shout out to the folks who donated their beards and hair. There was that one year that there was an auction for people getting haircuts and beard trims. So it was very fun to see that again. The only other question I have, because we are running low on time and I want to be mindful of that. Carla, I feel like kind of already answered this question, but if either Carla or Frank have more to say, my last question was, what do you hope people walk away from this thinking or feeling? And Carla, I feel like you already started talking about that, about helping people, heal and recover. But if either of you want to add to that, feel free.
I feel that it's important for people's stories to be heard. You may not realize it, but once you say it out loud to other people, it really makes a difference to you and to the other people. I carried this, I'm 66 years old, so I've been carrying this for a long time. I was in therapy for a very, very long time. The last therapist I had, I was trying to do with her what I'm doing in theater group, which was reflect back on my life and try to put everything in perspective. And with History Theater Group, I am able to do that. And I think I am honoring other people's stories and my own.
Well said, Carla. Thank you. Would anyone else like to add to that? I think that's pretty amazing. Well, then I just want to thank everyone for taking the time today. And the last thing I'll say before we go is if you are a member at either of the clubhouses and find yourself intrigued or curious or inspired or attracted to what went on today, we would love, love, love to have you join the group. We'll be sending out schedules and starting things up in the near future. We don't have exact dates, but both clubhouses, people who work there will have those dates as soon as we have them, and we'd love to have more people join us. It's just such a wonderful experience for everyone. So I think on behalf of everyone who has done amazing work on this, I want to say thank you, congratulations, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.